Hey friends, I'm starting today's video outside, but I wanted to go ahead and warn you, if you're not into chickens, don't watch the video. And this is also going to be a sit down and talk video, because a lot of people on my chicken video yesterday, where I was talking about what it actually takes to raise chickens, with the trend right now of everybody wanting chickens for their eggs, there were a lot of people that were like, yeah, I think I can handle that, but like, what temperaments and stuff are best for families with kids? What's best for meat production? What's best for egg production? What are show birds? You know, all these things. And there's a lot of things that go into it. And I was like, well, I really love research, and I have a lot of chickens. I have a lot of knowledge, so let's do that. So if you don't want to have a sit down video, I'm not going to be showing any animals. I will be putting screenshots on the screen and stuff, but I'm going to be sitting at my computer and doing research and talking to y'all all about it. So if that's not your vibe, go ahead and pass along now. But I would like to state my credentials for if there's anybody new watching this, because I've seen a lot of spike of people who are new to my channel watching the egg video yesterday. Live on a farm, have a lot of chickens, do my own research.
Professional chicken lady. I'm
not professional by any means, but you kind of have to become your own vet and all those things with the chickens. So I do have a lot of chickens. I also have multiple roosters with like a bachelor flock. I've achieved that, and my roosters actually all share their girls without a problem. So I feel pretty accomplished in that. So let's get right on into it. Hey y'all, sorry to interrupt, but this is Editing Megan. And I would just like to put in here, I know that we're talking about birds for eggs, but you're gonna hear me mention hybrid birds and meat production quite a bit. And I guess I didn't think about it fully, because when I explain things, I try to explain it to the fullest that I can. And in my mind, it just made sense to explain to y'all when birds are hybrids, because normally your hybrids aren't going to lay as many eggs. Not all hybrid breeds are like that, but they won't lay as many eggs, and sometimes bigger birds can have more problems. Meat birds can have problems. Not always, but I think it's just something worth mentioning so you can look it up if you do end up getting a hybrid breed, which is totally fine. I have many of them that are just fine, but it also goes into hybrid breeds in the weather because of their size, you know. Just I thought it was important to mention that. I wasn't mentioning it because I think that, you know, these breeds should be processed or anything like that. You know, I do eat chicken, but I don't eat my own birds, so I try not to think about it. But I did just want to mention that is why I mentioned the meat production so much, in case it didn't make sense to any of y'all. Let's get right on into it. Okay, so we're inside the house. I've tried to start this part of the video 3 times, but Maisie's cried every single time because she wants my attention. So I guess we're just gonna do this with Maisie in my lap. This is like a regular evening with us, honestly. Me on my computer, him on the Xbox. There's also the emu running around, and now Maisie in my lap. But there's a lot of things that goes into different parts of chickens. So I'm not really gonna talk about meat birds unless they're, and when I say meat birds, I mean birds that are typically raised for meat production. I'm not really gonna talk about those breeds unless they're really good breeds and I really like them. Like, I have a few Orpingtons, and I know people really love the temperament of Orpingtons. Orpingtons are more of a hybrid dual purpose breed, but they get really, really, really big, and so they're really good for meat. But they're by no means like an actual meat production bird. Like, I don't know if they're top of the line when you're using meat production birds, what the like main bird breed they use is, but I do know that I've read that Orpingtons are a good dual purpose breed. But anyway, so you've got your egg production, you've got your meat production, you've got your hybrid, which is both, and then you've got kind of your show birds. So an example of a show bird is like right here. I'm gonna put a picture of a Polish. Okay, I have Polish. I would definitely say they're more of a show breed. Other people will say that they're an egg breed, but they only lay on average 120 eggs per year. If you're trying to get a lot of eggs, Polish are not the way to go. They are also extremely hard to, what is the word, acclimate to the heat. They're really not heat tolerant. They do pretty good in the cold, but heat tolerant, I've had some that I've had to honestly dunk in water because I thought they were going to overheat. And that's very common in chickens, especially, I mean, we live in Texas, so, you know, it gets really hot here, but they don't do well with the heat. So, you know, just things to remember. Then they're also really susceptible to predators because the Polish have that big crest. You also have to cut away some of those feathers. I have one bird, Tiny. Her crest, she really is really floofy, and you have to maintain and cut that so they can actually see. So Polish are more of your like show breed. I don't know about too much about show breeds, but I do know that the Polish fall under that. So that can kind of give you a marker if you're going off of my birds. So I'm looking here on the computer behind me, and this is a .com, because what makes chicken breeds a good pet is going to be kind of subjective to people, but it's not always down to an exact science. Bless you.
Thank you.
It's all about how you raise an animal, because I have got tons and tons and tons of animals that, you know, came to us completely feral and have completely turned a 180, you know. I've got some that want nothing to do with me. These donkeys came to us feral, our ABCs, and they want nothing to do with me. So it depends on how you raise them. You know, right now we're raising an emu inside as well, a female emu, and they're supposed to be very different temperament than the males, but the lady I bought her from said all of my females are really good. It's just kind of based on the way you raise them. So, you know, when you get chicks, you just want to find your groove. If you really want them to be friendly and you want to be able to handle them, which I think is very important, is being able to handle. I can't handle a lot of my chickens, and so if they get sick, I kind of have to chase after them, you know, or if I want to get a hold of them, I have to chase after them. And so, you know, you just really, it's all about how you care for an animal. And I've read, you know, talk low to them, talk very gently, make sure you're getting your hands on them. And so it's just all about how you raise them. And some do come with certain like traits for them already. Some come sweet, some come loud and flighty. Roosters are probably always going to be pretty mean. You'll get good roosters. I have good roosters though. Sometimes more chickens are broody than others, meaning they'll sit on eggs or want to hatch eggs more. So also, if they go broody, they can become aggressive. Just a heads up, that happens. All right, so I'm looking at the 16 friendliest pet chickens breeds. The first one I have right here is a Plymouth Rock. What they're saying about them is they're a great dual purpose breed, meaning meat and egg. And so it says no matter what color of them you select, these are excellent layers, producing about 280 eggs a year, which is really good. Really calm, really enjoy being free range. They're also quite hardy to the elements. That's really good. They're easy to find as well, and they're one of the friendliest chicken breeds, is what this is saying. One chicken that I just bought my mom that I've heard great things about is a Buff Orpington. The Buff Orpington, there's like tons of variations. Like I have a red Orpington and a chocolate Orpington. I'm getting a lavender Orpington, but Buff is like the cream color. Here's a picture of it. And there's tons of variations of them, but it says that the Buff Orpingtons tend to be one of the easiest to come by, which I'll agree to that. It's more of a standard. Dual purpose breed, like I said. They'll produce about 200 eggs a year. Like I said, dual purpose isn't going to produce as many. Orpingtons have friendly dispositions, make them great options for people seeking low maintenance flocks. I'm going to be really honest with you. I have two Orpingtons, the chocolate and the red, and their names are Coco and Red. And I did not have enough hands on them. I did not, and I can touch them. They don't peck me, but they're definitely not the friendliest birds I have out there. So just a heads up there. Australorps. Australorps are also great dual purpose breeds. I have met a really mean Australorp. My mom had a really mean one, but I assume that they can be nice too. I don't know what was wrong with her, but she was just mean. She just liked to peck. And so they're a great dual purpose breed, excellent layers, about 250 eggs per year, so that's pretty good. Most people say they're one of the most friendly and docile chicken breeds around. Hasn't been my experience, but you know, it's always different. Then they have Cochins. I have some Cochins. I have Bantam Cochins, and all of my Bantam Cochins have been really nice. A little flighty, but again, it's also how you raise them. And like I said, when you're reading this too, it's also one of the friendliest breeds you can raise too. So you have to put in the work with them too. They're prized for their mothering abilities, and I can attest to that. They go broody, and they do a great job of caring for their babies. They really do. They're not the best for raising in hot climates, as they have a lot of fluff, and that is true. They tend to overheat. So I don't think that they're great egg layers, but they are really pretty, and they are sweet. And I have one, I call her Sink Chicken. Her name's Sizzle, and she goes broody like crazy. And then there's Brahmas, are some of the most massive chicken breed. They are huge. They're friendly, they are, and they're very hardy, and they're big. They do not produce a lot of eggs though, so they're not great for egg laying. They are a meat breed, but they're very friendly, very, very friendly. And they stick out like a sore thumb everywhere, and they're easy to get. So they lay about 150 a year, so just keep that in mind. Polish chickens, okay, like I said, 120 eggs per year. Show chicken, feathers, crest, that obscure. They do get a bit more nervous around people because they can't see, but they are very curious. They're very docile, very tame, very friendly, and they do enjoy being handled. I will attest to that. Next is a Favorella. Is that how you say it? Favorelle? I don't know. It's a French chicken breed. I have one. Oh, and it has 5 toes instead of the standard 4. That's cool. They have fluffy cheeks. They're referred to as muffs, and it's honestly the cutest thing. I have the salmon color, and salmon wants nothing to do with me. She's not mean, but she's just flighty, but they say they're easy to teach and tame, good if you have small children. Receive an impressive 4 eggs or so a week from your hens. I think they're pretty good layers from what I'm understanding. Then there's Easter eggers, one of my favorite breeds. I love Easter eggers so much. They're technically, though, not a recognized breed. However, any chicken that lays a colored egg and doesn't conform to the breed standards for Americana or an Araucana chickens can be considered an Easter egger. So you'll typically see them called Easter egger, Americana, or an Araucana. And they will produce blue, green, and pink eggs. Now, pink eggs, I say very loosely. I pulled a pink egg today, and to me, a pink egg is just a really light-colored, like cream egg. And it has, because of the bloom on it, it has a little bit of tint, a pink tint to it. They're charming, colorful, very pretty. They don't vary quite as much in regards to disposition as what they say, but I've had really curious and friendly Easter eggers. Every Easter eggers I've had are very sweet, very friendly, very curious birds. Then we got silkies. A lot of people love silkies. I will not have silkies. I have personal preference on why I won't have silkies. To me, they seem more high maintenance, but that's just my opinion. A lot of people like to get them for their flocks and do bantams too. Bantam just means small, and they're easy to handle. You can get them bearded or non-bearded. They are like puff balls that have actual, they're more like puff balls rather than actual feathers, and they do have feathered legs. 5 toes per foot. Silkies are friendly, sweet, and calm, and docile. Hens are extremely quiet. They don't fly well. Let's see. Yeah, and their feathers, what I meant by high maintenance is they have to be kept out of weather because their feathers are not like other feathers. They are a great choice for a pet chicken, though. I will say that I do know. I don't know what their egg laying is like, but I do know they tend to be very, very docile. I have not come across a mean silky, but I also don't own them, so that's personal. Then we've got Wyandottes. I have 2. I have 2 laced ones. Couldn't tell you what color. I think I have a blue laced one and a red laced one. They are, it looks like dual purpose. I think it's dual purpose. They're many colors, yeah, blue, gold, and silver. Docile chicken breed, easy to change. For mine, they've been very sweet. Don't really want to be touched, but again, not the biggest thing for me. I just make sure mine can be handled, and then I let them do their own thing, but they're not mean birds. Like, I have some Turkins. I also have a game rooster, and they are mean to other birds. Now, not to the point that it's like a problem, but they are mean, and they will peck other birds. So a lot of when we're talking about docile and sweet demeanor, we're also talking towards other birds as well, because that is important in a flock for a flock dynamic. So the Wyandottes will produce about 200 eggs a year. They say they can be raised for meat. That's all it really says about it. Then you've got Sussex. I have only had a speckled Sussex. Yeah, they're the most popular in the United States. You can find them in shades of brown, buff, light buff. They put buff twice. White, silver, coronation, red, buff Colombian. My speckled Sussex was very, very, very nice, but very flighty. Did not want to be held, but very curious and wanted to be around us. And then they're just a dual purpose breed. They lay about 250. Jersey Giants. People refer to them as gentle giants. He's about to bring up our emu up here. This is much different than a chicken, by the way.
You want to sit there and pet me in the hand, little bird? And you can come up here.
She's going to go lay down. Okay. So they say Jersey Giants are dual purpose. They can be raised for meat, exhibition, or eggs. 260 eggs a year, that's pretty good. If you're going just for eggs, though, you're going to want to get into like some other breeds that I'll talk about in just a second that were bred just to be egg layers. So we'll get there. I've had a Jersey Giant. They're very big. They say they're an excellent pick for a beginner flock. I don't think any chickens, I mean, chickens aren't easy. You have to dedicate your time to them. Maybe because of my job and kind of what I do, I have a lot more time to dedicate towards them. So I went straight for the Polish, and I mean, it was harder than other birds, but birds, it's the work that you put into them that makes them low maintenance or high maintenance. So it kind of also depends on what you do. We've got white leghorns. I've never had a white leghorn. They are the most common chicken breed. They lay white eggs, and they're the most common in commercial egg productions. They're flighty. They say it's relaxed. They say they're really intelligent, though, and so they're easy to train. They'll lay about 280 eggs a year, which is really good. That's really good. They say they do best in warm climates because they're small. Let's see. I don't know anything else about a few of the other breeds that it said, so I don't want to speak on them. I've only spoken on ones that I really know well. When we talk about being friendly, you know, aggression in chickens, it says, can be caused by many things. It can be breed related. So breeds aren't always going to be your 100% on what's friendly, but it can be hormonal, behaviorally reinforced, or just instinctive. Sometimes you just get bad eggs. We have one that's like that. We really do. And so, roosters are going to be more aggressive than hens. They will feed off of you. So if you have a chicken come up to you for food and you kind of kick away at it, it's going to realize that y'all aren't friends anymore, and it might be more aggressive to people. And that's hens as well as roosters. And sometimes they do peck you, but not to be mean, because they're curious. So you really just have to know your chickens. You have to know your animal just like you would know your dog or your cat, not necessarily knowing the science and the research behind them, but just knowing their mannerisms and stuff like that. And it also says here that bantams tend to be nice. So I think you kind of have to do your own research on that and figure out really what you want if you're going for temperament. But let's move on to egg production breeds, since I know that's what everybody wants to hear about. Okay, so remember, we are going to probably hear some repeats because I did give y'all some dual purpose breeds that are called hybrids. And so we are starting out with a white leghorn, and they say up to 280 per year. But that is as long as you provide them everything they need and a safe environment, because they will not lay if they do not feel safe. So you have to give them everything they need. Let's see. What else do we have? They also start laying at 16 to 17 weeks old. That's also very important. Next is a Rhode Island Red. I have never had a Rhode Island egg, but my mom has. They are easy to care for, and they'll produce 260 eggs per year. They start laying at about 18 to 24 weeks. Then there is red sex links. I've never bought them personally. They will do 250 to 300, assuming the bloodline is good, and they start laying at 15 weeks old, so it's a pretty good bird. Then you've got an Americana. Easter egg or whatever you want to call it. They lay multicolored eggs. Let's see, tolerate all climates. This is the among this breed is the crossed beak genetic disorder that will affect about 1 in 100 chicks. So just remember that. I've never had one, but just keep that in mind. 250 eggs a year. They start laying at 25 to 30 weeks old. Then we've got is it Barred Plymouth Rock? I don't know. I think I've got one of these. I've got a Barred Rock is what I've got. And we talked about it being really friendly. 280 a year, start laying at 18 to 22 weeks old, and they're just really pretty birds. We talked about Wyandottes already. Very good dual purpose birds, 200 eggs a year, so, you know, kind of up in the air. New Hampshire Red. They're not as prolific egg layers, but they'll do around 200 eggs, and they'll start at 18 to 21 weeks old. Buff Orpington, about 150 to 200. They're a really good, notably friendly breed though. So you kind of gotta weigh your options here. 19 to 24 weeks old when they start laying. We talked about Australorps, 250 eggs, start laying at 200 to 24 weeks old. Speckled Sussex will lay 250 to 300 at 16 to 20 weeks old. There's one more breed I want to mention, and all of this is stuff you can look up as well, but just to give you kind of a good rundown on what some good breeds are to get. This breed, there's no standard in the American Poultry Association or anything. It is a cross between a Rhode Island Red and a White Leghorn, which we already talked about are good layers, and it's called an Isa Brown, and they are known for egg laying, but they can suffer from kidney ailments, very common for them. My mom has one. I'm sorry, my computer's going crazy and it just scrolled all the way to the bottom. All right, so with them you're gonna get about 300 eggs per year, which is really good. That's typically the max you're gonna get is about 300 a year. They do suffer with a lot of reproductive tract issues, but again, you know, it's gonna be subjective to the bird, to the person, if it happens, if not. It is a hybrid, so those are no standard. I know a place in Texas where it's easy to get the Isa Browns, but I don't know if they're really easy to get everywhere else. They've been friendly from what I've seen. Just really good birds, not aggressive, and you know, just good, really good egg layers, really good breed all around if you can get a hold of them. But one thing I want to finish talking about is if you're going to get chicks and you want them for eggs, if you're the person that goes into your feed store and your Tractor Supply, wherever you get them, or even if you go online and you don't know anything about chicken language, there's a few key words you need to know. Obviously, you know, rooster means adult male. Hen means a year-old female who's laying. What's important is when you're buying chicks, if you hear straight run, you better expect to get males. Meaning straight run means it's a mixture of boys and girls and they have not sexed them, meaning they have not found out their genders. They don't know what they are. They haven't done anything. And so that you have to be very careful of, and that you're kind of getting luck of the draw. Sometimes people will let you go in their straight run pens, and kind of if you can tell if it's a boy or a girl based on, you know, different sexing methods for breeds, then great, you can do that. But I tried to do it with a Polish. I went and did a straight run, and I bought Rosie, and Rosie turned into Ross, and now it's Rosie Ross, and Rosie Ross lives with my mom now because Rosie Ross was my attempt to try to sex the chickens. So just saying, be careful. So if you want just male chicks, you're gonna get cockerels, I believe is what they'll sell them as, but I mean, most people want girls. So if you're looking for girls, you definitely want to get pullets. And even if somebody says they've you know, sexed them, be ready for the chance that they could change. It's not the easiest thing in the world to gender a chicken. So like the lady that I get my chickens from, she has a hen guarantee. So she guarantees 95% that she's right on what it is. And if it's not, you can get store credit. you can bring back the rooster to her and get a new bird. Double the store credit, I believe, right now. So just make sure you know your terms, make sure you're doing your research, make sure you know what to feed them, and all the time and the care it's going to take to get to them. And have fun if you're going to get them. I didn't post my last video to discourage anybody from getting chickens, because chickens can be great. I just don't want to see people get chicks, and then they grow up and maybe they're not laying yet because they might be big, but they might not be at laying age, or they're getting sick all the time, or people don't know how to care for them, people can't afford them, predators, all these things. And you see a lot of chickens that have to get rehomed. Not so much girls, but roosters a lot. You see roosters that need rehomed all the time. So that's just my tidbit. Just know that it may be for your family more expensive to buy chickens than it may be to buy eggs. I don't know. That's up to you to decide. But I know that it is a bit of a, maybe not a trend or controversial topic right now if people want to get chickens, and we're coming into chick season. And just also remember, whenever you're buying chickens from anyone, make sure you know you've done your research thoroughly. I've gotten scammed in buying chickens before, so just be careful, because some people do not have the best intents when it comes to chickens, especially those more rare breeds like the Polish. And make sure you know kind of what the chicken prices are, because some people will steep you out. So just really do your research. And if you do choose to get chickens, welcome to the journey, because it is crazy. And if you don't, but you want to watch chickens, hey, you can come watch my chickens. They don't do much. They run around and they eat, and what else do they do?
Dig holes.
Dig holes. Oh yeah, they dig holes. Chickens dig holes to take dust baths, by the way. That's my last parting little tidbit. But I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all next time with another one. Bye, friends.